Coral Reef Legend, Elfie of the Blue Sea, is an animated film released in Japan in 1986. The setting is the future 400 or so years from today, and it follows the same basic plot as the previously mentioned Nausicaä. Some sort of catastrophe has hit mankind, the sea levels are up, and everyone lives underwater with all the futuristic moving sidewalks you could possibly ask for. Enter Elfie, a young girl with an upbeat attitude and an unconditional love for the ocean. Somewhere out on a secluded island, she lives a happy life with her adopted brother and pet anime dolphin. Despite living in a 1980s water world, Elfie has everything that a young girl could possibly want. You've got hoverboards for racing, windmills for energy, and someone's even stocking the grocery store with cans of sardines. Yes, it's a future where human beings and fish can coexist peacefully. One problem: the world is unsinking itself. New islands are forming, which is causing a literal land grab as humans expand into new territory. Good news for people, bad news for the environment. The story begins when a school of fish swim past Elfie in a panic. A shark has entered friendly waters, seemingly chased there by underwater bulldozers. Now even Elfie can't be friends with the shark, so she fights it off with a combination of surfboard moves and hand-to-fish techniques. It's then that she runs out of air and comes to the realization that she can breathe underwater, turning her hair blue in the process. She brings it up to her grandpa, but, he wants nothing to do with it. Elfie's hair changing color is the least of his worries. The Kingdom of Neptune is at a crossroads. Their unchecked construction is polluting the sea, but if they don't expand, they might get attacked by one of the neighboring nations. And if that wasn't enough, the dolphins that they use to farm won't follow their orders anymore. Elfie's grandfather warns them that if they keep disrespecting the sea, then Ragnarok might hit Earth a second time. They choose to ignore this because really, how much worse could it possibly get, right? What are they gonna be, double underwater? In response, nature starts upping the shark attacks as fast as it can. Meanwhile, Elfie is having problems of her own. She has no idea why she doesn't need air, and the fact that she was adopted is making her question her place in the world. She's also starting to hear voices in her head, and if you've seen Nausicaä, then you can probably guess how the rest of the movie goes. Elfie and Nausicaä even have the exact same voice actor, so they knew exactly what they were doing. That aside, calling it a bootleg film would be kinda harsh. Elfie lives in a world where islands are few and far between, so of course she was gonna have some kinda stand-up surfboard to get around on, right? There's also no monster soldiers or bugs with psychic powers. There are a couple of horseshoe crabs that shoot lasers though, so that's new. One thing that I enjoyed was the space-age technology that they slipped into the background of this anime. You got jet-propelled surfboards, helmets that read your mind. Elfie even learns through a 1970s computer with CRT monitors. The whole thing feels like a lost episode of future Boy Conan, and if you're into that kind of stuff, this is gonna be right up your alley. Unsurprisingly, the animation is also a lot more limited than your typical anime. Elfie was made as a direct-to-TV movie, so it didn't have the budget of a theatrical release. But why does this anime look so much like Nausicaä, right? Well, if you're wondering why it's so familiar, it's not just because it's borrowing heavily from another movie, it's notable for being one of the directorial works of Yoshio Kuroda. Now, you probably don't know who that is, but he worked on a bunch of world masterpiece theater stuff, so, odds are you've probably seen something he's done without even realizing it. Did you see The Dog of Flanders? Bam, that's Yoshio Kuroda. He's possibly best known for the Swiss Family Robinson, but he also worked on another TV special called The 15 Boys Stranded at Sea. Look, I don't know why he's done so many stories about the ocean, okay? But you might say it's something he's really good at. Or maybe classic literature just has a whole lot of stories about getting lost on a boat. In any case, just 1 year after Elfie, we actually got that anime in English. It was released under the Family Home Entertainment label. That means that some executive probably had the chance to release this in America, but, for whatever reason they passed on it. My educated guess is they saw the way that this anime ends and they were just like, nah, that's not coming out in America. Elfie is well remembered for having a very, very dark ending that I'm sure scarred a bunch of children for life. That's not to say it never got broadcast outside of Japan though. A surprisingly high amount of places got their own versions of this movie. If you grew up in France or any number of Arabic nations, then good news, you can start tracking down a VHS tape from 1986. It even aired on the international TV station Spacetoon, and it looked so much like Nausicaä that they used music from Castle in the Sky to advertise it, which is pretty hilarious. There's also evidence that suggests that it had a DVD release in Portugal, but outside of one image, I can't offer any proof that it ever went for sale. If anyone knows Portuguese and has a secret source on one of the rarest DVDs of all time, please hit me up. Looking back, it seems kind of odd that this even exists. I mean, you don't see Madhouse doing a Princess Mononoke movie and setting the whole thing in the Alaskan wilderness, right? Though that is something that I would probably watch. The comparisons to Nausicaä were obvious enough, though, that at some point they re-released this movie with completely different box art. This is probably why you never heard of it. This film went out of print almost immediately after its release, and to this day, the only way that you can watch it is with unofficial VHS fan subs. There's also very little info about its production. Elfie was created as a joint collaboration between Fuji TV and the previously mentioned Nippon Animation, but in face of all that, it doesn't even have any merchandise for it. The best that I could find was the intro music on a vinyl record and a phone card you could use to call someone who cares. The fact it doesn't have a full soundtrack is kinda crazy too. I say that because in the Arabic dub they changed some of the songs, which is really weird if you've only seen the original. Where the Japanese version had a beautiful vocal theme begin and end the movie, in Arabic they completely removed it, meaning that if you watch this in another language, you might not have even heard the end of the anime. The main theme was sung by singer-songwriter Tane Tomoko, and her single Mermaid in Blue was one of the very first anime songs that she ever did. She would later sing the end theme to the mecha anime Gasaraki, as well as the end to the 15 Boys Adrift anime that I briefly mentioned earlier. Now here's something I thought was pretty cool. Did you notice the logo on the box? This was actually sponsored by Konami! Yeah, the Konami! Most people probably don't know them these days, and I'm not gonna fault you for that, but they used to make video games a very long time ago. Now every time I see that logo, it just kinda makes me sad. It might not have that Konami pachinko machine money, but I know what I like, and I don't hate this. You might even say it's pretty good. The dialogue is a little dry, and the characters aren't very deep, but I think there's a lot of people out there that might really enjoy this film. It's like a seashell with a crack in it. Sure, it's not perfect, but, at the end of the day, it still looks nice. And it sounds pretty good when you put it up to your ear. I give this a light recommendation to Nausicaä fans, and just generally people who are into decent 1980s anime. If you enjoyed this video, take a look at the one I did about Japan's very first superhero, and if you want to be notified about my future anime videos, hit the subscribe button, cross your fingers, you might get notified. This has been Kenny Lauderdale, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end, have a wonderful day.